We're back on Duna again, where you can see on the map here, there's that long valley we found last time that I'm planning on coming down to, and you can see on the left of the screen, we're coming down towards it, and okay, in a bit we'll get down to hooking up to the valley. We're not quite straight lined up on the valley, but that's not a problem because I actually want to do a little turn once I get down into the atmosphere anyway, because that's a good way of washing off some speed. But speaking of washing off speed, you'll notice if you look at my apoapsis here, I've already brought us down to low orbit, much lower than we were for doing the map scanning. Because if you're doing something challenging like landing interplanetary, then no sense in making it any harder for yourself than you have to. So coming in from nice and low helps, but yeah, I've got it kicked down. I could go in for a super shallow ascent from burning on the opposite side of the planet, all that sort of thing. I haven't done that, partly just because I couldn't be bothered and I don't really need to. But also because I want to wash off quite a lot of speed with the rocket because the atmosphere here is very thin. Just making sure I've got my SAS set up right there. You can see my PID tuner settings up on the Kerbal Pilot Assistant mod there. You don't really need to worry about that sort of thing when you're out in vacuum, but it's good to set them back up again. Ooh, and Anbo is looking concerned again. Jeb's fine. Jeb's always fine, but yeah, looks like Ambo freaks out as soon as we leave space and get anywhere near an atmosphere. He's definitely looking stressed, and there's no blue to be found. So, okay, again, science, we haven't ruled out he might still be afraid of blue, but it's certainly not the only thing he's afraid of, so maybe he's afraid of atmospheres. He was bullied by a gas when he was young or something. Okay, here you can see one of the other handy tricks for landing on places like Duna is air brakes. Okay, what I've done here is I've just got the inner surfaces, well, both pairs of the inner surfaces set as spoilers, with the inner one set as standard spoilers and the outer one set as negative deflection spoilers. So I can just toggle those on and off wherever I want, and because I'm not using the entire wing as those air brakes, I've still got a good bit of roll control out on the tips. And also I want the reason for having those air brakes fairly close to centre of mass is so they don't put in too much aerodynamic disturbance. Whereas if they're a long way out, things can get a bit wiggly, especially if you've only got the brakes going one way. If it's just spoilers up or spoilers down, then you have to be careful about introducing accidental pitches. Alright, so I'm diving very steeply here to try and bring myself down, but because we're still a long way up and the Duna atmosphere is so crazy thin, by Kerbal standards we're effectively at like 60,000 meters or so still, so the plane isn't actually getting a lot of grip to pull it down, but it'll come around gradually. You can see out on the horizon there, that little yellow circle is my surface prograde marker. And I'm gradually getting it down to the point where we're actually going to land within where I can see. Okay, there we are. I can see on the map down the bottom on the screen. Well, there's a fair bit of Juno showing in the window. We are pitched down quite steeply. Jeb doesn't care. He's looking at that map intently, tracking us down. You'll see the map on the screen looked a bit different to the full map brought up through the toolbar, because in screen through the RPM screens you can zoom in and out on the maps a bit. Okay, but we're getting down, charging on down. The atmosphere won't really start to give us any grip until we get down to 10,000 meters or so, like now. So now you can see the Q value, the atmospheric pressure's up to something where the wings can actually bite on something. So we're definitely heading for the ground now, so it's probably time to pull it back up. The other thing you'll notice is you see the Mach readout is showing me at around about Mach 3, but my surface speed's only about 700 meters a second, which would only be about Mach 2 on Kerbin. Again, it's because of atmospheric density. The speed of sound changes in different density atmospheres, so Mach 2 on Duna is not the same speed as Mach 2 on Kerbin. Okay, let's just get it pulled around a bit. So I want to be going a bit further to the north to get running down this valley compared to the direction I was coming in from orbit, but that's good because you can see this turn, the energy we're dissipating there and the high drag from the wings as we're going around is helping to slow us down. But I've just pulled the air brakes off here a bit because I want to manoeuvre a bit more sharply, and if you're doing things that are a bit aerodynamically tricky, it's best to remove the complications. But yeah, there you can see that. We're pulling it around in a nice little circle now. So let's flatten off again and start to lose some altitude. So we're still about 3.5 k's up. Still doing about 450 meters a second. It's a bit of a trick here on Duna. Okay, the landing is rough, so you want to be slow as possible before you do it. The air is thin, so the drag is low, so it's not that easy to slow down. But on the other hand too, because the air is thin again, you need more speed to fly. So if you try to go really slow, you're just going to fall out of the air. So it's a bit of a balance there. But yeah, we're nicely placed in our valley now. We're heading up the length of the valley. Yeah, it doesn't look... You can see a bit of rise on the horizon there, but it doesn't look very valley-like. The featureless nature of Duna makes it a bit hard to figure out what's underneath you at times. Like, it's not as flat as it looks. It's going to be quite bumpy once we actually get down there, as Anbo is dreading. But it's hard to tell from up here. So I've got to... I could continue heading northwest up the valley, and you can see my little trail there, that blue line, northeast up the valley, but I'm thinking I might turn around to the northwest as well, because there's a nice long flat landing spot there that we're just lined up for, and that extra turn would also allow me to wash off the last bit of this speed. So, air brakes in again. A little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'll just pull it around, tap it a bit gently at first, just to check how the controls are responding, and now just hold it, stick full back, and I'm keeping an eye on the prograde marker. If it starts to climb too much above the horizon, I can just a bit of left rudder, and that'll pull it back down again. But yeah, we're just cruising around in this nice chilled out circle. The canards have stalled, as they often do, but I don't mind that. They're helping to slow us down. So yeah, still 2.5k up, dropping about 10 meters a second, getting down to 160, 170 meters of speed, so that's getting slow enough to start thinking about landing. Anbo, okay, well, he's not completely panicking, but he definitely does not look like a relaxed pilot. And possibly the only reason he's not completely panicking is he knows Jebediah will beat him up if he does, or possibly just lock him in the cargo bay. But we're doing alright, so just test a few things. Yeah, retro thrusters, all good to go, just toggle those back on. You may remember those from the build of the original demonstration gull. I think I did include those on the original, I think. Or maybe not. No, maybe those are something I brought over from the libraries. But either way, that's a pair of monoprop engines that I've got stashed up just inside the intakes. Well, not actually inside the intakes, but yeah, towards the centre line from the intakes. And they come in very handy as braking assists during landing, especially if you're landing in a place that has low gravity and poor traction. You're about to find it. I'm about to demonstrate, but this is what I would have said anyway. Flying on Duna is easy. Landing on Duna isn't that hard. What comes immediately after landing on Duna is quite tricky. So yeah, but we'll just cruise around. We're getting down to about 1 kilometre. You're starting to see the ground scatters showing up there. Still, all that redness still makes it very hard to tell exactly what the slope or smoothness of the ground is. Like there could be a nasty hillside down there that I'm not expecting, but I don't think so. This is why we did the radar scan. So I'm now heading pretty much northwest, and yeah, we're flat in the middle of that nice flat valley. So even though the ground's going to be a little bit bumpy, I shouldn't be going smacking straight into a steep hillside. But yeah, cruising around. This is all a bit slow and delicate. You do need to take some care. But you know, the air is fairly forgiving here. Well, the atmosphere, not air, because it's very thin. It's just like flying at moderate altitude on Kerbin. And you notice this is all pure glide. I haven't had the engines on the whole time here, but you can see we're getting down to the ground. Lights are on. And here's the other trick. As I was saying, flying very slowly on Duna is difficult. You might start to sink because of the thin air. Stick a couple of Verners on the bottom. So I'm using the Verners as a little bit of VTOL just to help control my sink rate, keep me coming down. I've still got some height to the ditch, so I want to keep on coming down. But the Verners are nice insurance if you start going a bit too fast. Okay, there we've got the retro thrusters on, and because knocking down our airspeed with the retro thrusters is going to knock us out of the air. So I'm using the Verners to keep the sink rate under control while we're flying at a speed lower really than you should be able to fly here. But doing well enough. Coming in about 10 meters a second, slow it down a little, tap it, jets and up, about 8 meters a second, bounce. Oh. Okay, now as I was saying, this is the tricky bit. Landing on Duna is easy. Coming to a stop after you land on Duna is very, very difficult because, as you saw there, the gravity is so low that you bounce off the ground a lot. Even if you do manage to keep your wheels on the ground, you've got subtle traction because of the dirt and lack of gravity. Oh, watch the wings, watch the wings. Oh. Okay, it can be a very good idea to have Harrier-style wingtip wheels, but I didn't bother with that on these ones. But yeah, okay, now we're down and controlled. So long as we don't hit any bumps that are too bad, we should be good. Down to about 28 meters a second. Slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. Monoprop supply is starting to get a little bit low. I want to keep some on hand in case we need to dock on the way back or something. Ambo's still not the most relaxed Kerbal in Solar System, but he's, well, getting a bit calmer. And chug, 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 chug. There we go. Down and safe. And look at Ambo. Ambo is happy again. He's not afraid of space. He's not afraid of anything on the ground. He's terrified of flying. I don't know why. Okay, we'll just get everything set up so the boys can get out. Duna's gravity's light enough that you can probably get away with jetpacking it, but it's a bit painful to jetpack here because there's enough gravity that, it's not like the moon or Minmus where you can just bounce around the place whenever you want. So having a couple of ladders, you could probably get away without them, but it's not a bad idea to have them. So let's have a look inside. Oh, look at those boys, happy as. And Ambo as well. Ambo, Jet, all good. So what should we do next? After they've sat, enjoyed the view, appreciated the glory of their landing, I think it's time to bring somebody outside. So I think Jebediah certainly gets the honour of the first Kerbal on Duna. So I'll just pop him off. Okay. I think I could just jump off the side here. It is only 1/3 gravity, but I think for stylistic reasons, because this is a historic moment, Jebediah should make a proper, gracious entrance onto this new planet. And besides, who knows? Maybe the grounders, Kerbal eating something that we haven't discovered yet. So he wanted to have the ladder on hand so he can pull the stumps of his body back up after it devours his legs. But it did try and devour his legs. But no, he's just stuck in the dust a bit. There we go. Oh well, so much for graceful and dignified. Anyway, come along. Go for a little stroll and woohoo! Okay, that's it for this one. I'll probably do one more on this, just showing you how to take off and get back home again. But cheers, see you guys.